this year. At least don't try it for the first thing. Work on like some like pillow shams or like I also really want to make like hot pads, pot holders. I have a bunch of fabric for that, and I got it's over in my pile somewhere, but they make insulation that has like metal in it that reflects heat and cold back at your item, so it really protects like your tables and stuff. So I got some of that and cotton thread, and I'm going to be making pot holders too for like Christmas gifts and things like that. That I think would be a much better like first project. Yes, this is what we're doing. It's a process. We bring this back around. Yeah, yeah, table runners. It's just a rectangle. You could definitely do that. 100%. Do a table runner. I think I'm gonna make a table runner too for my table because I have like some red tablecloths, but I think I want to make them a little bit more Christmassy. You have room for it in your office? Nice. Table runner, you better go catch it. Do I have sounds on here? Um, Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, anyway, I'm just gonna be grabbing each of like the pairs, and it looks really funny the way you have to like line these ones up because it's at the funny angle. But we're just going to offset them by a 1/4 inch. And hope. Something to know about sewing is that most patterns call for a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And like there's different feet for your sewing machine. So like this is like the most standard like presser foot shape. And when you just do a straight stitch, your needle is right in the center. And from the center to the edge, either edge of your presser foot is a 1/4 inch. So it's really easy to keep a straight stitch that has the proper seam allowance because you can just line up the edge of your fabric on whatever side you're sewing. And I try to have like the raw edge of my fabric on the inside because it's easier when you have a lot of like fabric excess to have it all outside of your machine rather than like bundle it up in this small area. So there's a sewing tip for you. Oh, sorry, I bumped the camera. Um, I know at one point I talked about doing like a little like sewing 101 stream, and I never did it. I know that's something that Bubbles really wanted. Oh, let me grab my leader. I'm just using this so I don't have to cut off my threads from the other. Sorry, this is like in my way. I don't have to cut off the threads though. It's a hack that I just saw that I wish I would have used 10 years ago. My fabric is just lined up with the edge of my presser foot for my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I always like put my needle where I want it to start and I manually push it down. That way I know it's not gonna like slip around. And then I'm just gonna go. And then the next one. isn't so bad. Having to grab all the pieces in between each one so I know like what corner to line up to or what side to line up to which side is a little bit. Oh wait, one of these was upside down. Should be like this. That part's a little bit annoying, but I'd rather do that than like mess them up. Um, Make one of the Christmas tree skirts that stand up, like they kind of look like the bottom of a cone, you know, where it's just kind of like that, like a tall thing. So it wouldn't be that hard, I don't think, in construction, especially if you just want to use like one big piece of fabric to go around the whole thing, because it's kind of like making a trapezoid, because like it'll need to be a little bit bigger on the bottom than on the top for it to go around. But you would have to use interfacing in the center, which I guess it just depends on like you might need a heavier duty sewing machine needle, which like machine needles aren't that bad. Like you can get them for just like a couple dollars a piece. But it's like a stiff inside lining type of thing. That way you would like make it stand up. You'd have to use some sort of interfacing for it. For sure. But overall, I don't think it'd be like a difficult project to make. The hardest part would be like if you want to sew it with like your right sides together. That way when you open it up, you don't see your seams. Flipping like with the interfacing might be a little bit difficult, but you might be able to sew it with like wrong sides together and then just like put a casing around the outside to cover it. Want to see if I can make that? I'm sure that there's patterns for things like that. Pinterest is really good to look for patterns. A lot of people share them there. I love Pinterest, y'all. Needle down, foot down. Oh, because then you can make those other the other little things with the kiddo that I sent you on Etsy. Those were little sewing things too. Some of them are like hand sewing, but you could probably machine sew them a lot quicker. So definitely. Definitely would be